right now. Units, I have shots fired, one person. Someone in the back, I don't know, I don't want to pain right now. Units, I have shots fired, one person.
Did you have something to do with his death?
No.
We're past that. This is called...
A woman in Ohio thought she had staged the perfect play to cover up a horrific crime. She shot herself in the leg, frantically called 911, then created a story about two strangers breaking in, insisting that they had killed her boyfriend and wrapped his body.
Did you have something to do with his death?
No.
We're past that. This is called damage control. Okay? We know that you were involved. You shot him with the .22.
I didn't.
Yes, you did, right in the top of the head.
I didn't.
Okay, I've talked to killers before. I've talked to straight up people that shot several people. They at least had the balls to own it. And you don't.
An Ohio woman thought she'd plotted the perfect...
The interrogation room conversation was like knives cutting through the air. The detective cornered Deborah Frasier while she still tried to cling to her clumsy denials. He said he had faced many killers before, even those who had coldly gunned down multiple lives, but at least they had the courage to admit it. Deborah did not. Her denial only exposed her desperation. But the act quickly tore apart under a skillful interrogation. That was the moment Deborah Frasier realized she had completely collapsed. Hello, I'm Mr. High. Thank you for clicking on today's video. If you want to support the 90-year-old man to have more motivation to keep telling these strange and haunting true stories, please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. And now, Deborah Lynn Frasier, 37 years old, living in Zanesville, Ohio, will spend the rest of her life behind bars on charges of murder with a firearm, tampering with evidence, and the heinous crime involving the victim's body. According to the Muskingum County prosecutor, Frasier tried to cover up the crime with a staged armed home invasion, even injuring herself in the process. The prosecutor's office called it a crime dramatic, but a complete failure. And indeed, that description was entirely accurate when looking at the whole case. Zanesville police had doubts from the very first moment. On August 10, 2023, Frasier called 911 saying she had returned to visit Tom Waddell, her longtime on and off boyfriend, and found two strange men in the apartment. The door wasn't locked. Everything's scattered. Tom's truck is still here, but I can't find him anywhere. Deborah's voice trembled. The 911 operator immediately told her to leave the apartment. Step back right now. Go out into the hallway. Is anyone still inside? Deborah whispered. I'm trying to move quietly. I don't know if anyone is still here. Suddenly she screamed, "Oh my God, I see someone! I've been shot!" The alert rang out over the radio. All units, we have an armed home invasion at 3231 Sandhurst Drive. One person shot. When emergency medical services arrived, they found Deborah Frasier with a gunshot wound to her leg. She was rushed to the hospital. But at the same time, at the scene, police discovered the body of Tom Waddell, tightly wrapped in garbage bags, duct tape, and a comforter. The incident report quickly pointed out inconsistencies. Tom's apartment was normally tidy, with no signs of drug dealing or use, something often linked to home invasions. The scene Deborah described looked more like a clumsy setup. Photographs of the couple were torn and scattered on the floor. Notably, several guns were still in place, when those would usually be the first things stolen in a robbery. Nearby security cameras also recorded no one fleeing the apartment. And then, the horrifying truth came out. Just one day earlier, on August 9th, Deborah Frasier had stood behind Tom as he sat in an armchair, raised it to .22 caliber gun, and pulled the trigger, ending his life right there in the living room. It wasn't until the next afternoon that she called 911, staging the fake home invasion. But when police searched Deborah's iPhone, another secret stunned them. Deborah had been in a separate relationship for over a decade with a man named John Anderson. To Anderson, she lied that Tom was merely a dementia patient she was caring for as a nurse. And that was only the surface of the web of lies Deborah had spun, the very thing that ultimately sank her own life. The interrogation felt like knives cutting through the air. Deborah said she thought Tom had just stepped out somewhere, maybe to visit family. He must have gone with his family, she told herself, as if to be reassured. But before she could touch the bedroom doorknob, two masked men suddenly rushed out. Right when the 911 dispatcher urged, "Back into the hallway, get out now," Deborah, in her statement, kept backing away, kept backing, until one of them pulled out a gun, pressed it close, and fired. She collapsed. "I don't know where they ran. I was in too much pain to look."
What's going on? I think someone moved in the apartment. It was unlocked, and there's stuff everywhere, and I can't find my boyfriend, and his truck's here. And
Okay, ma'am. Are you inside the apartment? Are you inside the apartment? I need you to back out of the apartment if you are. Come back out of the apartment if you're in there. Okay. All right. Come on back out of the apartment. Are you in the hallway now?
I'm trying to quietly get there. I don't know if someone's still in here.
Okay. I'm going to stay on the phone with you, but I need you to back out of that apartment right now.
Oh, no. I see someone.
Are you out? Did you? All units, I have an active home invasion. 3231 Sandhurst Drive, 3231 Sandhurst Drive. Active home invasion.
Oh, my God, I'm shot.
Okay. Ma'am, what? He's what?
I've been shot.
Okay. You have or he has?
I have. I haven't even been able to find him yet.
Okay. Did you get shot?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Ma'am, who shot you?
Then came the part about GSR, gunshot residue, and everything began to unravel. When detectives mentioned GSR, Deborah immediately added another layer. No, in fact, she had grabbed at the gun when threatened, only trying to push the barrel away. "I just wanted to shove it aside," she stressed. "I was afraid of being shot." She described holding the lower part of the gun with one hand, her other fumbling at the long part, then struggled to name it. The detective suggested, "The barrel? The round chamber? The cylinder?" Deborah stammered, "I don't know the names. The round thing that holds the bullets." It sounded honest, but the vagueness itself made me and the whole room feel something was off. From there, her timeline tangled. At one point, Deborah insisted, from the moment she left the apartment until she encountered the intruders, she never returned. Yet minutes later, she said she had gone back to grab a PlayStation. "John asked if he should drop me off at the apartment," she said, "but I asked to go to his place to play games, to take my mind off things. Why not go home?" Tom didn't like games, but I did. At John's, there were people to play with. She listed. She had a PlayStation 4. John had an Xbox. She had brought the PS4 over to John's. "The console is still there," she confirmed. Then Deborah spun out the timeline of the next day. Around noon, she said she woke John up. They went to Blackhand Gorge for a walk, though they had considered Dillon Dam too, since both trails are beautiful. But worry grew because Tom hadn't replied. She decided to return to the apartment. In the parking lot, she said Tom's red pickup was still there, and Tom never went anywhere without driving himself. Right then, she noticed a cleaner packing up to leave. She approached the door and said it was unlocked. That detail clashed directly with her earlier statement, when she had claimed she had to unlock it to get in, creating a clear crack in the wall of her story. "I guess Tom forgot to lock it," she corrected herself. Then she described, stepping inside, she saw things tossed around, the bedroom and spare room lights still on, her mind racing in a million directions. Hearing this, I could see the impatience on the investigator's face. They had heard too many stories like this. And then, the questioning shifted tone. The detective asked like it was a moral test. "If we caught those men, what punishment do you think they deserve?" Deborah replied that shooting someone was a grave crime, worth long prison time. "I could have been killed too." An answer that sounded upright, but sat strangely against the stack of contradictions she had just built. When was the last time you fired a gun? The detective suddenly changed the subject. Deborah replied, when we struggled, the gun went bang as I was trying to twist the barrel away, my hand still holding it. At this point, in her own story, Deborah seemed unaware Tom was already dead. And when the detective told her, Tom has been shot and killed, she burst into tears, burying her face in a hospital blanket. The room fell silent. But then the detective's voice returned, cold and steady. All right, Debbie, let's talk. He looked directly. Who killed him? I don't know. Were you involved? No. The detective leaned back, his voice slow and firm. 20 years on the job, this wasn't his first case, nor his last. We follow every word you say. Then he asked, do you mind if we look at your phone? What's the password? Deborah hesitated, then clearly recited 68113. The detective said, we already have a warrant. We know what you searched, what you did, and where you were. And here came the direct blow. Yesterday morning at 8 o'clock, why did you search how long does gunshot residue stay on hands? A silence heavy as lead. At 8:16, you searched how long does GSR stay on skin? Then the court records in Florida, in Muskingum. Debbie, the questions today, we already have the answers. He concluded, something happened Wednesday night. I don't yet know exactly what went on between you and Tom in that apartment, but I do know the one responsible for his death is you. Deborah whispered, it wasn't me. The detective's eyes didn't move. You're lying. And every time you change your story, the noose of evidence tightens. This is your one chance to tell the truth, to salvage at least something for yourself. Sitting in front of the screen watching every minute of that interrogation, I, as the host, felt both a chill down my spine and my chest tightening. My unease came not just from the scattered details, but from how they fit together like sad puzzle pieces. Inconsistent statements, the unlocked door clashing with had to unlock, the PS4 still at John's, the Blackhand Gorge trail, the red pickup never leaving the lot, and, above all, the cold queries in her search history. Sometimes, you don't need to see the killer holding the gun. Just look at the trail of lies. They're enough to point the way back to the truth. This is your only chance to tell the truth. If something really happened that led to this tragedy, then this is the moment to admit it. The detective sitting across from Deborah Frasier said bluntly, there was no break-in. None. You have trapped yourself in the biggest lie. And now, either you unravel it, or you will be buried in it forever. They pressed her into a corner. Was there something between you and Tom? We know you were involved. You fired the .22 straight into the back of his head. Deborah trembled. I didn't, but the dry reply came. Yes,
but the fact of the matter is, the evidence will show that you did. Whether you ever want to be accountable for your actions, that's up to you. Like, I'm trying to tell you that remorse goes a long way in trying to start the healing process for people's families, for people that might have cared about him, and also for you inside. Because ultimately, there's one person that you're going to have to answer to in the end, and there ain't nobody here on earth.
I care about him.
No, you don't sit here and tell me you care about him.
I do.
You don't care about him. If you can do what you did to him and then cover it up and then try to wrap him up and then sit here and not be accountable for what you know about what happened, it's like, that's like pretty bad. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. Like, I've talked to killers before. I've talked to straight up people that shot several people. They at least have the balls to own it. And you don't.
I didn't kill him.
So if that's the case, then why'd you try to clean it up?
I didn't try to clean anything up.
There's hair in the trash bag that you covered his feet up, that you put his feet in.
Yeah.
Hair.
Okay, your hair is inside of this. They went to the autopsy today. It's going to come back your hair.
I mean, we can wait. We can wait until the DNA comes out, or you can just try to clear it up right now. It is what it is.
You're putting yourself so far behind the 8 ball as far as why this happened. Like, you're denying, lying that you wouldn't do anything. So when it comes to the time you're going to be like, I need a better story because I am really screwed because they do have the evidence. They weren't with me. And you've painted yourself into this corner right now. That's why I'm telling you, you only have one chance to be 100% honest with us. And I can tell you, you ain't been honest. Not even the closest. All right, so your hair is in the duct tape, okay? From where he was wrapped up. I mean, it doesn't.
How does that happen?
And then, I mean, did you put the bag over his face because you couldn't look at him anymore and see what you done?
I didn't cover him up.
Okay, so you're going to say that you don't think that hair is going to come back to you?
I don't know. I've been around those trash bags, that duct tape.
Listen.
Not out of a roll.
Yeah. We don't.
Not inside the bag. You got to open the bag.
Yeah. You don't get hair on duct tape at Walmart. I mean, I bought a lot of duct tape in my life, but I've never bought any that comes pre-packed with hair, especially your hair. So.
I didn't do it.
Well, the I didn't do it story, that ain't gonna work. Charging you with murder, which is a unclassified felony where you spend life in prison. Felonious assault, which is F2. Tampering with evidence. Gun specs, which is mandatory time on top of any conviction. So you'll get life plus whatever gun spec time. Domestic violence, and your bond's going to be $2 million. Any other questions for us? All right. Enjoy your stay here.
On March 18, 2024, Deborah Frasier finally bowed her head and pled guilty. Murder with a firearm, tampering with evidence, and abuse of a corpse. A life sentence closed the door on the freedom of the woman who once thought she was clever enough to fool everyone. After the trial, Assistant Prosecutor John Little stated, "The public would be surprised if they knew the investigative capabilities we possess. This was a thorough, methodical investigation, and I am proud to have been part of it. Sitting here retelling it, I still shudder. A plan that seemed flawless, shooting herself in the leg, staging a break-in, ultimately collapsed under the weight of small details Deborah couldn't control. And what unsettles me most is the coldness. How could someone who said I loved him also be the one to pull the trigger, then seal him in layers of cold duct tape? The answer, perhaps, we will never fully understand. But evidence does not lie, and the evidence convicted Deborah Frasier. And ladies and gentlemen, after all, perhaps the most heartbreaking part is not only Tom's death, but how a love was twisted into hatred, lies, and crime. Deborah Frasier buried her own life simply because she could not face the truth. This story reminds us that when people choose the path of lies, they must invent even more lies to cover up. But the truth always finds a way to speak. Cameras do not lie. Scientific evidence does not lie. And even one's conscience can never stay silenced forever. I want to leave you with this. Conflict, jealousy, or disagreements in life are unavoidable. But instead of letting anger guide your hands, learn to communicate, seek help, or even walk away in silence. Because no love, no pain is worth the price of a life. If you are in a desperate situation, remember there's always somewhere to turn. Friends, family, support hotlines. Choose to listen and share, instead of creating another tragedy. I am Mr. High, and I hope today's story not only made you shiver, but also made each of us pause for a moment to think how compassion, understanding, and love can take the place of hatred. Only then will cases like this no longer be repeated. Thank you for watching, and always cherish life, yours and that of others.